Reacting to some big news in the EFL this evening that Gillingham Football Club have sacked their manager Steve Lovell. A club statement. After a discussion between the chairman and the manager this afternoon, the club can confirm that Steve Lovell has been relieved of his duties with immediate effect. Mark Pattinson will take responsibility for their game against Charlton tomorrow and Blackpool next week. The club would like to thank Steve for his efforts with the team over the past 18 months and wish him well for the future. We will be not further commenting at this stage. Short, polite-ish there from Gillingham Football.
Well, certainly unequivocal.
Well, let's discuss it in a little more detail. Matt from Gills in the Blood podcast joins us. Matt, very good evening, mate. How are you? Okay?
Good evening, gents. Yeah, good to speak. Obviously, not the circumstances I was expecting on a Friday night.
No, is this coming as a real surprise, Matt?
Massively. Like, literally, watched his press conference yesterday. No sort of inkling that he was, under pressure or looked agitated in terms of thinking he was going, we've had rumours that Steve Evans has been at a few games, potentially coming in as director of football. For me, again, the club don't help themselves. It's a generic statement that doesn't give us any real information. I'm sure it'll come out in the wash eventually, but it doesn't look good on our part again. We're safe. Yeah. We were third favourites for relegation. We've had no real budget until probably January, when he was backed with the likes of Graham Burke and Leonardo da Silva Lopez coming in on loan from championship clubs. Whether he was the right man to take us forward next season, I wasn't sure. But for me, the timing absolutely stinks.
That is I guess that's the thing. If the club, as you say, you know their history better than anybody, and we know full well that it's been a volatile one, particularly of recent years in terms of the way it's looked after its managers. But given the fact that a mid-table position with the kind of what he's had to work with, you would suggest it seems a harsh choice, regardless of whether they think he's the man for, say, the long term, wouldn't you?
100%. Like I say, if we'd play Charlton tomorrow, regardless of the result, and Steve and the players do their lap of honour, and we go to Blackpool last week, and then we get the season out of the way, and then we say, thank you, Steve, you've done a decent job for the best part of 18, 19 months, but we're going to look to someone maybe with more Football League experience, because we want to get to the next level, whatever that is, relatively speaking, whether that's top 8, top 10, top 6, promotion, I don't know. But to do it the week after we've secured it'll take a horrendous, catastrophic run of results from other clubs and a weird sequence of events to us to go down now. I don't think it's 100%, but it's 99.9 recurring. So we're safe for me. So it comes back to timing again. So something's clearly happened today, but
well, if he's got
we had 7 points from 12 games when Steve Lovell took over.
If there's talk there that that maybe a director of football is being put in over his head, and he's not too happy with decisions being made at a boardroom level and things they think might, or the directions they want to take the club in behind the scenes, and Steve isn't liking that, and they've come to obviously an impasse today, and it's resulted in him leaving the football club. But I've got to ask you, because I remember we've spoke before on this station where you're talking about a very fractious relationship between the owner at Gillingham and a fan base that aren't too pleased with decisions that are being made at boardroom level. And Steve Lovell, correct me if I'm wrong, has gone a large part towards helping mend fences, helping mend a relationship and an atmosphere once again at Gillingham Football Club. To see this news, to see how he's been treated a couple of weeks before the conclusion of the season, just stinks. It really does.
I can't disagree at all. Until we find out the full information, and obviously we're all surmising a little bit, but it comes back to, again, the chairman of the football club, because obviously it's come out on social media, and I'm sure Mr. Scally has had obviously input into how the statement's gone out. He's not going to just leave it to someone else to do it. It creates a bad picture of him, and it creates a bad picture of us again. After, like you say, the football's not been great this season, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
The home form for the best part of 2 or 3 seasons, and that's pre-Steve Lovell, hasn't been good enough. But away from home, he's been absolutely brilliant. Just going on Twitter now, looking at fans saying thanks for the memories in terms of away days. We've gone to Portsmouth twice, never won there. We went to Rotherham, we won when they were flying last season in the top end of League One. We've been to Charlton and won for the first time in our history. We knocked Cardiff out the FA Cup this season. There's been some really, really, really good performances from Gillingham Football Club under Steve Lovell. There's been some horrors, don't get me wrong. But my point always is, this is League One football. they're in League One, wouldn't be playing for Gillingham Football Club. They wouldn't be playing League One or managing in League One. They'd probably be in the Premier League.
You're right. It's the nature of the business. It's a very good point. And listen, I'm going to ask this question. It sounds horribly mercenary, but the job has been done. When you talked over recent months, when you look at the reaction on social media, has there been any kind of groundswell of support for what fans think could or should be the next option?
In terms of a new manager?
Yeah.
The only name we've got is Steve Evans.
It is Steve Evans, okay.
Because he's been seen at games. So the rumour's been going around the club for the last month or so was that it was going to be he comes in as director of football. So obviously that's where that rumour now comes from.
Sure.
But our history of director of footballs generally means he comes in,
does the job,
and we've undrawn and quartered the manager, and it's just someone waiting to take over when a couple of results go bad. But we have to remember Steve Evans has got history with Gillingham Football Club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
So this is a bloke, I think, who made incredible accusations against one of our club legends about a decade ago.
Yeah.
And now suddenly he's the man to take us forward.
We shouldn't comment on that any further, Matt, we should say.
No, I'm not going to. No, of course. But it's just another thing that doesn't sit well with the majority of the fan base, I'd say.
Matt, we
I'm
could
sure
chat
if
all
he
night,
comes
mate.
in,
We've run out of time.
we could do all weekend.